Welcome to A Play on Nerds.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Jarman.
Between us, we have more than 30 years of experience in the nerd arts.
Each week, we endeavor to bring the world of nerddom to all of you.
So push up your glasses and listen up, Internet.
This is A Play on Nerds.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another very special episode of Play on Nerds. And I say very special because here to Play on Nerds, every episode is very special. I'm Steve.
And I'm Jarman, and we're very excited for this episode, as you said, because this is going to be our gigantic space episode.
Space, the final frontier.
Or is it?
We're going to talk about everything. Nerdy stuff, less nerdy stuff. Jarman, I liked your disclaimer earlier.
Yeah, basically, we want a warning for everyone here. This is be our very nerdy episode here. Spoilers. Spoilers before the episode you're about to hear.
Spoilers. Spoilers. Spoilers.
Just because it had been a while since my wife heard that sound effect.
She's got to hear it every time, right?
Every time.
This is not for the nerdy faint of heart, because we're going to delve with some deep science here, some theoretical physics, some, philosophizing. So strap on your geek seatbelts.
Yeah, because Jarman and I really don't have a whole lot of idea what we're talking about.
But we're going to pretend we do.
Jarman's going to pretend he does. I'm going to be here for the ride, folks.
Steve, I feel like in a year from now, when this podcast has grown, we're going to have like an actual theoretical physicist come on the show and like own us. And I'll be happy to have that happen. Yeah, that's going to happen someday.
Someday.
In the not too far future. So what have you been up to for the last couple of weeks, man?
So really, I've just been working until the last couple of weeks, finally done being sick and just getting back into the regular flow of things and enjoying my days off. But the two things I want to talk about that were kind of crazy this week. So one, and you probably already know this, but I did not. In a Game of Thrones, there is a character named Jarman.
Yes, I did find that. Someone sent it to me.
Jarman Buckwell. He is one of the scouts for the Night's Watch. And it amuses me every time because, as you always say, I have never met or heard of another person named Jarman.
I know, I'm named after my grandfather, whose name was also Jarman, Jarman Day, and it means a man from Germany in Gaelic, or the Irish language.
Okay.
And so it's just very odd to see it, and someone sent that to me, and I guess I have no idea where George R. R. Martin had heard that name before. Usually it's a last name too. So it's really weird to have it as a first name for a character, and I was so excited about that. I'm really sad he's not on the show. He's only in the books.
Yeah, they basically amalgamate his character into like one character.
Oh, it's sad.
Yeah. But, so yeah, Jarman, so that was cool. And every time I read it, because I'm reading a John chapter right now, so it's all night watch, and they mention him like 4 times, and I go, ha.
Awesome.
And the second, and what I spent a lot of the last like 24 hours doing, is the launch of World of Warcraft's newest expansion, Warlords of Draenor.
Ah, yes, and they improved the graphics, right?
Yep, they did a character overhaul on what the characters you're looking at. So everyone kind of got a facelift. Some other visual changes, some enhancement to fire effects, they look better and that sort of thing. But really, I've got to say, as someone who has played since the early on, and Jarman, you played early on too. Mm-hmm. And you played, which expansions did you play through?
Oh, God, I think the 3rd or 4th one.
So you did, God, of course, now Super Nerd here is blanking on the names.
Well, there's Wrath of the Lich King was like the first one, right?
No.
That was the second.
First one was when they had the Blood Elves. Burning Crusade.
Burning Crusade, yep. Then
Burning Crusade.
Wrath of the Lich King, I played that one.
Wrath of the Lich King.
And what was the next one?
Then Cataclysm.
I think I just started playing Cataclysm, and that was my last one, I think.
Cataclysm was a little bit disappointing. And then Mists of Pandaria.
Oh, yeah, didn't get that far.
And now Warlords of Draenor. And I've got to say, Warlords of Draenor is the...
Wait, hold on. Every time you say that, you sound like you're drunk.
Draenor.
Warlords of Draenor.
Warlords of Draenor.
That's
I might be saying it wrong too. Draenor? Who knows? It doesn't matter. It's
the judicial system.
The judicial system. So I was playing Warlords of Draenor.
Yeah. Okay, you're drunk.
It is the best expansion that I have played by double.
Just because of
any of the
content
expansions
or
they
what?
have ever released. So recently they fixed a lot of how kind of the classes are played, which I appreciated. A lot of people don't, but I think it's an excellent change. And with this, the new you have a garrison, which is your own sort of private base that you can kind of invest in.
Ooh, cool.
In different buildings that help you out and help your base out in different ways. You can gather followers. Right now, I have followers running quests for me.
Oh, that is cool. They finally introduced that kind of system. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's excellent. They made the world very, very explorable and very, very open. As opposed to Missa Pandaria, where everything was really walled off by mountains and there were really only a few paths you could actually take anywhere. Mm-hmm. Which I did not appreciate. They've made it so that you have quest lines that help you get through the main story, but then there are bonus objectives that would have been side quests that sort of cluttered up your quest queue. But now you wander into the area, you get the quest, you complete it, and it completes for you automatically. Nice. So it just takes a lot of the hassle out of managing your quest book and keeping it so you can actually read things. They just made some really, really smart changes that, as a player, make me excited to play the rest of the expansion.
And that's really going to keep the game alive and keep people still playing after so many years.
Oh, and here's one of the cool things, something you'll remember. For Burning Crusade, you were in Outland. With like Nagrand and all that. Well, this Draenor is Outland before it was removed into the Nethers. So you get to see this sort of Pangea-esque continent where you recognize things from Burning Crusade.
And you can still play the Burning Crusade levels, right?
Yes, because that's a different like time zone technically.
So you're going through time in this one,
or like alternate worlds or something. I don't really understand. It doesn't matter. It's fun.
Screw the plot.
Yeah, but it has been a really fun play so far. And normally with these expansions, I try to get to the highest level as quick as possible because that's when the real fun starts. But I'm really excited to play through the levels
and just kind of take your time with it.
Yeah, and enjoy it because they've handled it very intelligently. They didn't add new abilities, but what they did is they added abilities that only work in Draenor.
Huh. That's smart.
So I randomly, at a level when I wasn't expecting to get anything, got an enhancement to one of my spells. But it only works in Draenor. But it's still really cool and it's really, really useful.
And I just personally thought that updating the character models was so smart. Like, that makes it more playable for someone who was staring at that character for hours on end.
I think about the player characters that you and I started playing with, because this is the second major model upgrade.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. They used to be just these crude triangle-faced guys,
yeah,
kind of. And then the emphasis was really on the armor. That's what had the detail. But yeah, it's come a long way. So I would recommend nerds out there, check it out. If you were on the fence, I highly recommend Warlords of Draenor.
The judicial system.
Warlords of Draenor. It's great. Check it out.
Well, that's fantastic. I'm sure your divorce papers will be in order soon.
Soon enough. Anna, at this point, when we listen to this, she's going to hit me. I just want you to know that.
Okay.
Internet. So what have you been up to, bud?
Well, for me, the past couple of weeks was preparing for a skill-focused burlesque show. It's my nerdy burlesque troupe I helped run with my girlfriend, and we did a show in Gainesville. And something that was kind of fun that happened there, apparently the owner of the bar we performed at, his name is Warren Oakes, and apparently he was the drummer for a band called Against Me, which I had never heard of.
Me neither. It's all right.
Two of the girls in the group were just fangirling out, saying, "Oh my God, I listened to that band so much in the 90s. Oh my God, they were huge."
They were smitten.
Yeah, so they were just going crazy. And it's like, but he's this really nice guy. He helped us out a lot, but that was something.
Cool.
But the show went really well, even though it was raining, and we did a lot of apocalypse-themed numbers and horror show numbers, so it was kind of fun.
Okay.
But also, I've been spending a lot of time with our good friend Patrick online with our Twitch channel, which Steve tried to join in on one of those things as well.
My internet was not having it.
Apparently not. We need to figure that out because it shouldn't require that much bandwidth. But yeah, he's doing a lot of Twitch streaming, a lot of independent games like Lost Vikings, Hotline Miami, Don't Starve, another one. Really quirky.
Yeah, I played that, actually.
Oh, you played Don't Starve?
Yeah. And then I saw you guys were playing it, but it happened 12 hours beforehand, so I didn't actually get to see you guys.
Definitely. But it was, it's been a lot of fun. He's gotten a lot of followers, and some fun people have been talking up on the channel. And I was told to mention one person on the podcast. He's now going to become a listener. He or she. Right. We don't know if it's a he or a she.
They.
The Twitch name was Wendaria. But on Twitter and on Twitch, he also goes by genderless, nameless, fundamentally opposed drunk with laser beams. So there's your shout out, man.
Sounds like my kind of chap.
Yeah, chappy. But either way, come check us out on Twitch. Patrick will be streaming again Tuesday after this podcast release at 9:30 a.m. in the morning for an early riser and don't have work. Also Sunday at noon. So if you want to check that out. So come by and watch. And that's pretty much my update for the past couple of weeks.
Okay, cool.
So let's move on to some nerdy news, shall we?
Nerdy news, everyone.
It's time for Nerdy News.
So this comes from sciencemag.org. It's got an org after it, so it's got to be, legit.
Legit.
They've got papers filed somewhere. For a long time, apparently, and I didn't really realize this, scientists have pretty much believed that the Earth was formed and existed and was dry and hot, and then a major collision happened where a meteorite or a large asteroid hit us and brought water to Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And this, a big icy meteorite crashes in. We survive the planet survives, not us.
Yeah.
and the hot planet melts the water and it distributes. And that was the theory for a really long time. But now, new theory with some evidence to back it up, suggests that water showed up on Earth much earlier than anyone estimates. And that the water was on the surface of the Earth from very early on. They referred to it as a wet plate coming out of the dishwasher.
Huh.
And because of that, it's making scientists reevaluate when life may have started.
Do they know now where it came from, then, if it wasn't from an outside source? It kind of came from within the Earth or something?
Well, no, they do believe it's still from an outside source, but dating meteorites that would have brought it.
Oh, okay.
It shows that it showed up much, much, much earlier. It showed up when the Earth was still forming as opposed to after the Earth was formed.
Oh.
But because of that means water and heat and elements were all together much earlier, which means that, initial life could have happened much earlier than we anticipated.
Does that mean that we could have created a whole civilization that's now gone, like Atlantis, and we started over again?
Yes, sure. Why not?
Ghosts.
Yes, ghosts. Hey, it's not Halloween anymore. I will not tolerate any more ghosts.
Okay.
But yeah, I just thought that was a really neat sort of idea that we've been a watery planet since very early.
Did they specify whether it was meteorites or comets? Did they say
meteorites?
Oh, okay, interesting. Because I have heard that same thing said with like comets, and I know they're slightly different as far as what a comet is and what a meteorite is.
Well, here's the thing. They also believe that a bunch of our water came from this asteroid called 4 Vesta, which is one of the largest in the asteroid belt.
Mm-hmm.
And that they believe that is what shot these meteorites that brought water to Earth.
Gotcha.
With them. But yeah, so I'm not sure how or when that happened.
But much earlier than we thought it did.
Yes, much earlier, which means that life could have started that much earlier, which means the evolutionary chain can go back that much further.
Well, that really kind of ties into my story quite well, actually.
I did that on purpose.
Of course.
No.
Well, they also, I've heard the theories that a comet could have done the same thing, brought water to Earth as well. And we just recently, we as the human race, we landed a probe on a comet. It was the first time in human history that we've done this. And it was kind of just, I didn't even know this was happening or that we had a mission out there to do this. But it was
true. Or money. Who has money to do these things?
Well, apparently it was the European Space Agency. That's why we haven't, I guess, heard too much about it, because it wasn't the U.S. It was European Space Agency, or the ESA. And this is a very meticulously planned event because it's very difficult to land something on a moving object, which is, if you've seen Armageddon, that's true. But we know we've seen Armageddon here to Play on Nerds.
Somebody down 911!
But anyways, so they land the probe in the comet. But the problem is, since it was moving and the gravity is kind of weird on a comet, it had to shoot out grappling hooks, basically, and kind of hook itself to the base of the comet. Otherwise, it would kind of not be stable and maybe fly away.
Right.
Because it's also going to be drilling into the comet, and if it's not steadily on the comet, it'll just blast itself back into space, So apparently, the grappling hooks did not quite hit the way they're supposed to. So it kind of bounced twice and landed about a kilometer away from where it was supposed to be. And the probe was supposed to be powering itself by solar panels, which they planned to have it sitting in the sun, but now it's sitting in the shadow for all but 2 hours a day, in quotations. So it's only getting like 2 hours of sunlight to power itself, as opposed to 24 hours a day to power itself. So that's a problem. They only have a few hours left to actually get data from this thing, and they're hoping that they can get a core sample or whatever before it, dies, basically. But they're hoping to find something because comets are supposed to be around since the formation of the solar system about 4.6 billion years ago. So apparently they could tell a lot about life in our galaxy and life in our solar system and give us a lot of information, but they might have screwed it up. So
but those goddamn grappling hooks of all the science it took to get this thing on this comet, whoever thought, I bet you the grappling hooks aren't going to work.
They really needed Batman to pilot that thing. That would have worked a lot better.
I bet you they didn't even plan it. They were like, how are we going to screw this thing? Grappling hooks? Yeah, I saw it in Batman movie. It'll be fine.
That should work, right?
Where does it get those wonderful toys?
Not something more scientific? No.
Batman is big in Europe, so it makes sense.
So there we go. We did something monumental for humanity by landing something on a comet, but we didn't do it very well. But that's...
I hope that some alien race finds that sometime in the future and is like, man, is that solar panels? Why the fuck did they park in the shade?
That was stupid. Oh, that's humanity. They do shit like that all the time.
Yeah, it's true. Oh, man. Well, good segue into our main segment, Space, the Final Frontier.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its continuing mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no one has gone before.
And on that kind of Star Trek-y note there, we have a little game to play with Steve here.
Ooh. I'm excited.
And it's called Super Real Science or Star Trek Technobabble. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give Steve a phrase or a term, and he has to tell me if it is in fact from Star Trek or if it is actually a real astronomical term or astrophysics, kind of in that field. Okay. So you ready, Steve?
I sure hope so.
Okay.
Let's see what happens.
So, your first one. I'll make sure you pronounce all these correctly, which would be great.
Okay. If you don't, I get points.
Yes. No, that's not how it works. Chronokinetic surge.
Real.
Incorrect. That is a Star Trek only term.
It had the word chrono in it. I should have known.
It's from 7 of 9 on Voyager, apparently, talking about that chronokinetic surge in my pants.
Bam. 7 of 9. Bam. Or like 9 out of 10. Mm-hmm. Bam.
All right. Temporal polarization.
Real.
That is in fact Star Trek.
Damn it. It's temporal.
I said, you can say it either way. I said temporal. You say...
No, you say it the right way.
Let's call the whole thing off.
Yeah.
It's Chief Engineer O'Brien on Deep Space Nine. Okay.
All right. Fine.
All right. Mega parsec.
Real.
You said
it's
real
a real measurement of time, right?
Not time, but distance. But you are correct. It is real.
Oh, thank God.
A unit of distance equal to 1 million parsecs, or 3.616 million light years. So
Wow.
that's I think a parsec is like the distance between us and our star, which would be the sun. So, anyways, that's 1 million of those.
All right. Bunch.
All right. Corpuscular radiation.
Real.
That is correct. It is real.
Yeah.
Charged particles, mainly protons, alpha particles, and electrons emitted by a star.
Those alpha particles, they're some good dudes.
I prefer omega.
True. Legit.
Okay. Shadow matter.
Star Trek.
That is in fact real, actually. Trying to fuck with you on this. Though as theoretical classes of particles, their existence intimated by supersymmetry theory that participate in few, if any, of the 4 known fundamental forces. Planets, stars, and galaxies made of shadow matter could conceivably exist in the same space and time we occupy without our sensing their presence. So yeah, whatever that means.
All right,
okay.
well.
All right. Chronoton particles.
It's got the word chrono in it again. I'm going to say Star Trek Technobabble.
You are correct.
Yeah! I see your game now.
That is Geordi LaForge on Next Generation. Anisotropic superfluid.
I'm going to say real thing.
You are correct, sir.
Yeah.
That's a system of fermions. There we go.
Sure, why not?
A system of fermions in which Cooper pairs form in a state of finite relative orbital motion and possibly finite total spin. We all know what that is.
I understood 3 of those words.
Me too. God,
this is going to be a fun chat.
We need an expert on here badly. All right.
Because we sure as shit ain't it. All right.
Spectroscopic parallax.
Star Trek Babble.
Incorrect. That is a real thing.
No. All right.
Darn. Spectroscopic parallax uses the spectral classification and luminosity of a star obtained from photometric observations to place it on an HR diagram. By then comparing the apparent magnitude with the expected absolute magnitude, a distance to the star can be estimated. Whatever that means.
Okay.
Science.
Whatever you say, bookman.
All right. Thermal I'm going to say. Hold on.
I'm going to say real. Because whatever it is, Star Trek would never make anything that hard to pronounce. It's real.
Thermal interferometry scanner.
I'm going to say real.
That is incorrect. It is a Star Trek thing. That noise you just made is so amazing. Geordi LaForge, Next Generation.
God damn you, Geordi.
Must have been that last torpedo. The forged a bridge. I've got a problem down here. The magnetic interlocks have been ruptured.
This is hard, isn't it?
Damn your eyes.
Damn your eyes. And now the final one.
All right.
Quantum resonance.
Real.
Nope, that is a Star Trek term.
Shitty shit.
Dr. Bashir on Deep Space Nine.
God. That just shows how little I know science and Star Trek.
Yes. All right, so you got 1, 2, 3, 4 correct, which isn't bad.
4.
But it's 4 out of 10, so sorry.
Hey, 4.
And that has been Super Real Science or Star Trek Technobabble.
Well, that was a fun one. That stumped me pretty good.
Good to know. So on to our main segment where we discuss space.
Space. All things space.
Yes. And the things that Steve and I find interesting about space.
Like, what would happen if I peed out there?
I wouldn't want to risk
things
it.
I think I'd stay up at night thinking about.
Well, I wish we had seen that in like in a NASA video with them people in space, like just peeing freely into the air, but then it'd be like all over the spaceship. They'd never get it out.
Well, here's the thing. It doesn't have to be pee. You could do it as like an experiment. You just have like a warm saltwater ejector on the side of the thing and you design it to come out like pee and then we would know. and my question would be answered.
And those same aliens that saw our probe in the shadows would be like, those humans peed in space now? Seriously?
God, it's everywhere.
It's all
Don't
over our
they
windshield.
realize? This is going to be our first contact with aliens right here. Is us just urinating through the universe.
They peed all over our windshield. We're not going there.
And then we're those asshole aliens.
We pretty much are.
So I was looking at sort of popular science fiction and looking at some of my favorite sci-fi books and movies. 2001, Moon, Apollo 18, which is great if you haven't seen it, Alien, things like Enemy Mine and Ender's Game and The Forever War, which is an excellent book if you haven't read it. And everything sort of boiled down to one of these sort of 5 categories when it came to going to space. And I figured we would discuss them. So the first one is profit among the stars.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you think we're going as far as making money in our solar system?
Yeah, we actually have stuff going there now. Like they're talking about mining the asteroids and stuff in our immediate system, which is very feasible. And they have so many rare metals and elements on these things that we can't find very much of on Earth. So there's a lot of potential for money there if they can get the initial capital to make it happen.
True. Do you think there's going to be... What money do you think there is to be made in this, in like commercial space flight sort of stuff?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I think...
Because so far, I'm not impressed.
Yeah, like there's not enough reason to get people into space. Like, why would they need to go? But if we had like a booming materials industry in space, they'd be like, they would need great commercial aircraft to go up there and back all the time. So these workers who are working these space stations that are mining asteroids could come back and see their families and stuff like that. So I think that would just create a whole new, foray into space, because then once we have those set up, then we'd have other reasons to go to space. So
yeah, commerce would become the reason.
Yeah, because then you'd want to build like a space station that had restaurants in it for them, the space miners and stuff like that.
And space whorehouses.
Yeah, that's good. Wait, they're already there. They're in cryogenic sleep
tubes. Space prostitute.
Space prostitute and cryogenic freak. Oh, man. That's a throwback, folks.
Yeah, God, if you were here a couple episodes ago, you'd think we're terrible people.
Well, we are terrible people. So.
Yeah, we are. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Commerce would drive people's need and desire to make money would drive it.
Yeah, and that's
just like everything.
A small capitalism thing. I mean, there's a small part of us that just wants to explore out there for the good of humanity and to learn more. And so many inventions have been caused by, just going into space out of necessity. But mainly people want money. So there you go.
Yeah, true. So people are talking about we're finding all these, asteroids with, frozen chunks of water on them. Do you think that it's ever going to come to a point where we're like, well, let's go bring some water back to Earth?
You think we'll need to?
I don't know. Depends. Stuff could get real shitty here.
Yeah, and the big thing is just the overpopulation problem. Like, we're just eventually going to have too many people to support ourselves, so we're going to have to live somewhere else, or maybe go live on a comet or something.
Yeah, I think the more likely is that we'll all die here, but that's just me.
Well, what's funny is that you're mentioning we were just talking about how one reason we go into space would be for profit. But most sci-fi movies and books don't really talk about that being the reason we went into space, which is funny because that's probably the real reason that we'll go into space.
True. Well, I mean, the movies the thing that came to my mind was Moon.
Yeah, that's true. He was mining shit on the moon, wasn't he?
As far as helium-3. But yeah, just, if there's money to be made, someone's going to try to make it.
Wasn't helium-3 the same thing from the Dark Sky movie or whatever it was called?
Yes,
Iron
I believe
Sky.
so. Yes, Iron Sky. I actually made that mental note also. I couldn't remember what movie, but yeah, you're right. It's Iron Sky. But, greed will drive us all.
Which is, not like in Star Trek where we're just, going to go out there for fun and exploration.
Nobody gets paid. What?
How does that work?
Fuck that. How do I buy space whores if I don't get paid?
They're out there in droves, just frozen in these blocks.
And they only take major credit cards.
I listened to a great podcast recently, actually, they called it Trek Talk, but it was off of the 10 Forward podcast. But they were talking about money and how even if everyone had all their needs met by a replicator, how would that work? Why would anyone do anything? You know, like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like,
True.
you'd want more than your neighbor, so why wouldn't you just like replicate a spaceship, you know, and replicate everything more than your neighbor, and it would just be no space left on Earth for anything because everyone would replicate all their own needs. So I think it's going to be more greed driven, and we wouldn't be able to.
Okay.
Anyways, side note.
So the second is what I termed danger among the stars.
Oh, yeah.
And what I'm talking about is, you know, we're going to be going to places that are, you know, we're going to be looking for other places that could house humans, which means other Earth-like plants. And we're eventually going to run into, I think of microbial life.
Yeah, like diseases and that kind of thing.
A disease, a virus.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that could like wipe us out. Like something that we just didn't expect to happen.
It has before.
Yeah. Crazy shit's happened in the past. It can happen again. And then, of course, the movie that came to mind for this one was Alien.
Oh, yeah. A little more than microbial in that case, but...
Yeah, true. But no, I think the idea of like a space plague or us just running into something that there's no way we could predict scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, and like something like... It made me think of like mad cow disease. Like something that we could never have thought of to look for in our meat and our food. So if we end up going to a place that has like maybe vegetation, even not even like, you know, animal life, but how do we even test it for things we wouldn't know would hurt us? So like,
right.
Oh, so like it'd be so dangerous.
Now, mind you, realistically, the periodic table throughout the universe is probably relatively similar. In different quantities and different, you know. But zinc here is the same as zinc on some planet 100 million light years away.
True. And they assume that the same elements make up the whole universe, as far as we can tell.
But the fact of the matter is that we may have elements that other planets do not.
Mm-hmm.
So there could be something completely different there.
And we go there and touch our skin to something and it explodes or something. You know, it's like, who knows?
And we find a super arsenic. You know, like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no way to not know that'll happen.
That scares the crap out of me.
That's why we're going to let lots of people go first before we go, but we'll be
true.
dead by then.
No, we'll be dead. Oh my God, will we be dead. By the time this shit happens, we'll be so dead.
That's kind of sad, but yeah, it's true.
Unless the space program gets a giant boost in the next 10 years, we will be dead. Like, that's just the reality.
If we live by the Star Trek timeline, we'll have first contact with Vulcans in like 50 years. We could still be alive for that.
So that's after... You know, the big war that tears the U.S. apart, right?
Oh, yeah, that war in the 90s that happened?
Cool. We better get on that. We're a little behind.
There was like a genetic war in the 90s where Khan came to power, and yeah, that didn't happen. So I think we're in the clear.
Nope, didn't happen. All right, so now this one is interesting. When we go and we're eventually, mind you, this is under the theory that we get the hell off this planet, we'll eventually meet some other form of life. And my question is, how do you think we're going to treat that other form of life?
I think it depends on how we're greeted by that form of life, you know, like, and what level of intelligence are we talking about here? Like, you know,
well, let's do some hypotheticals then. So let's say, we come to it with, let's say, humanoid or some sort of intelligent life at like a tribal level.
Okay. I like that idea the most. I mean, not for the people that we meet, because they won't benefit very well from that, but
right.
Like Stephen Hawking said, you know, look how well it worked out for the natives in America, but
that's true.
At least we as a human race would have the upper hand in that case.
True. Well, I think it would depend on why we were going.
Yeah. I think we're at that point, though, we're probably going to be there to take their land because we need space to breed and live.
True. I guess it depends on where, you know, the human race goes, because the other thought is, well, maybe we get to a point where space travel is so good that more researchers go out and, you know, research new planets, and that's how that, you know.
And we won't have to take each planet we find.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and there's a great...
Or if there's going to be a code of ethics based on if there's already life there, if we can go and take over.
The whole, the Prime Directive.
Yeah.
Basically. And that's actually one good part of that movie people don't like so much, Star Trek Insurrection. It starts off on one of those kind of planets where they're kind of a little past tribal, but they're kind of like in villages and stuff. But the Federation has built an invisible monitoring station. It has a cloaking device over it, so they can just monitor the civilization without interfering with them. But Data starts getting screwed up, and he actually runs through the town with like a gun or something.
And he's invisible, and they're knocking shit over, and then his helmet comes off, and you just see his floating disembodied head as he knocks guys over.
And somehow
there's a really intense hacky sack scene in that.
Hacky sack? I don't remember that.
Yeah, so they're discussing how like this planet benefits everybody. Sorry, folks, we're getting a little off topic.
Hey, it's space.
And how it like makes all the children super smart and super coordinated, and there's all these kids playing hacky sack in a circle, but there's like 15 hacky sacks going.
Oh.
And they're doing it in this like intricate pattern.
Yeah, that's right, because it's like these kids are really intelligent or something because of the air of the planet or something.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to make sense. It's Star Trek.
There you go.
But yeah, sorry, intense hacky sack. Go on.
No, I think that would be something we could eventually do is monitor them without taking them over if we actually have good intentions.
True.
I hope we do.
The final two are sort of similar and they're the reverse of one another. So people have said for years that we're doomed because we've been sending our radio signals out into space for 50 years now.
Right.
And if there is intelligent life out there, more intelligent than us, there's a good chance that we're just putting on a beacon to come find us.
Yeah, that's true.
And that humanity has already damned itself because we've already broadcast ourselves to the universe. And so what do you think if an alien race finds us?
Well, I think if they do find us, it really is the whole thing of whether it's going to be really bad or really good. Like, they could be in the same spot as we are, where they're desperately trying to find new places to live because there's just not enough resources on their planet, and we're the closest one they found. And that means they're going to take it because they're ahead of us and they're able to travel to us, and they will take it.
Oh, yeah. Let's have no illusions that if a race was smart enough to travel possibly, light years.
Yeah.
They have the technology sufficient to make whatever we have look like child's play.
And I forgot where it was from, but there's actually an actual government document that states their contingency plan for when aliens get here. And it was actually from, the help of Stephen Hawking saying that is probably going to be bad news for us. Their whole contingency plan has nothing to do with resistance. It has to do with how to dismantle society quickly after they destroy us, and then how to develop guerrilla bands of fighters to then retake key points of Earth, because they know that we'll lose. And that's an official government stance. Like, they know we would lose because we would immediately be taken. So it's a bit more about how to get back at them with small guerrilla fighting forces. That's the only thing we could possibly do. So I thought that was interesting. But the other thing is that it's a really advanced civilization that has no need to take our planet because they have plenty of other ones, and they can just talk with us and share information. And that's and that's no reason that's not a possibility.
See, I think that I agree it's a possibility, but I think that any race that intelligent and with that little need would be smart enough to leave a not as advanced race like us alone.
Yeah, kind of like the Prime Directive thing, like wait till we're on closer to their level kind of thing.
Right, exactly. Because a sudden influx of technology would completely change our society.
And we wouldn't know how to handle it because we didn't develop it. So we'd basically screw it up.
Yep, exactly. So I think that that's why I think that I'm with Hawking. If aliens show up, we're fucked because they are here to take over. That's what they are here for. Because any intelligent life form would just leave us the hell alone if they weren't here to take us over.
Yeah. Something I'm hopeful though is that since we've been sending out radio signals for so long, and it takes them so long to get where they're going because they're not moving at the speed of light.
Right.
Not really. And I hope that we hear someone else's radio signals finally, and we're like, oh, and it's a safe distance. They can't get to us yet, but we just happen to hear that, yes, there is another civilization. This is an alien language we're hearing. And it'd be like a 1940s broadcast, like an alien language. But that'd be awesome. Then we're like, oh, we now know that we're not alone, but we're not in danger. So that's good.
True.
I think that would be like the best way possible. But I don't
most of their programs are also about football somehow.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're not in danger. We're good.
We're good. They're on the same level as us. We'll try to get there faster before they come and kill us. So
let's talk the future. Then we are a more advanced civilization.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say this actually happens. What happens when we meet another aggressive civilization?
Like full on battle, kind of like your
Yeah, not the swatting of flies, but an actual battle.
Like Ender's Game type of thing.
Sort of, yeah. Or like Starship Troopers might be a better example as far as movie and book. Much better book.
Well, actually, I had a great conversation with a couple buddies of mine. We were talking about one night about how if we developed more defensively, like if we start going out into space and, in preparation for any hostile alien races that might be out there, we build like big defense grids and kind of just turtle in our solar system. Then we'd be really prepared for someone who spent more time being an offensive alien race. Like they have more ships that go out, but they don't have a lot of defenses back at their homeland. So if we focus more on that to prepare ourselves in case they're there, then we'd be okay. But otherwise, like you said before, I think we'd just be fucked.
So I'm gonna disagree with you on this, only because this subject is actually covered in Ender's Game.
Oh yeah,
and his explanation makes more sense to me. As far as a garrison in space or trying to turtle in.
Sure.
In space, it can't work.
Because it can come from all sides.
Because everything's in 3 dimensions. The logistics of trying to cover us 3D would take more than what the human race could possibly do at this point.
At this point, yeah.
Let's just, be realistic. The only good defense in a space war is offense. Is to try to destroy the other guy before he destroys you, because there is no real way to defend.
It's like get to their planet and destroy it.
Yep. And the only because I've heard this, Ender's Game is one of my favorite books, and his argument for it makes a lot of sense.
What's the argument for it? It'll just be like you said, because there's no way to defend yourself.
Because there's no way to garrison in space. There just isn't.
That's true. It's like as if we were living, you can picture it like 2 civilizations living underwater. It's the same kind of battles, like you can go in all directions. So,
well, I mean, in Ender's Game, basically what the government does is they tell everybody that they've made this huge defensive fleet that is all around Earth, protecting them from all sides. That's what they tell the public, but really they made this huge fleet and sent it.
That's right.
To the alien homeworld. And there's nothing guarding Earth because they know it's folly.
There's no point. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I don't know. Who knows?
It's depressing, but it's a thought.
Yeah, true.
I just hope we meet these really nice aliens. There's like, hey, how's it going? Want a joint or something? Yeah, that'd be nice.
Well, it's a really good book, The Forever War, which I highly, highly recommend. It's
I've heard
such
of
a good
it.
book. And it kind of deals with space travel without being with time travel without being a time travel book. But it's all about time dilation. And basically the idea is this guy is conscripted as an elite soldier to go and train to go and fight this new alien enemy. And he's in the first group going to fight this alien enemy. And then through he survives through time dilation. He ends up coming back and leading this now fully developed force ready to be sent into space. And because he's the only veteran who's done it, he has to lead them. More time dilation. He comes back and suddenly he's thousands of years out of place. And they look back at the war and they're like, oh yeah, that was a big mistake. It was a big misunderstanding.
Like the aliens weren't actually trying to attack them? Is that what
Yeah. That's basically the punchline of the book, is that after all this time dilation and being sent out to these further and further distances and having more time dilation happen, by the time he gets back, the war's been over.
Oh, that's weird.
And it's been so long that no one can really remember why it started.
Gotcha. So because of the way they're traveling back and forth, when he gets back, it's
right, because he's one of the veterans, they send him to the furthest location.
Gotcha.
The most difficult location. And so because of that, he's got the longest time back. And by the time him and his elite group are back, the people that have seen the worst of the worst, it's over.
Did he end up killing the civilization and then coming back and realizing he didn't have to do it?
No, we kind of got our butts kicked.
Oh, okay. But they're still alive. Like, they're still human race. Gotcha.
Yes, they come back to Earth. Actually, Earth is now inhabited by, this is how long it's been, is now inhabited by, genetically perfect clones. That can choose to either be gay or straight depending on what they want.
Interesting.
And they can program it. It's really, really goofy. But that's the span of distance, is that by that time the human race has changed entirely.
It kind of reminds me of, did you ever end up watching Edge of Tomorrow?
Yes, I did. It's in my bag right now. I need to return it to Redbox.
Oh, there you go. No, I really enjoyed it. How about you?
There were some things I didn't quite get. Like the whole "you stole its power" thing. I was like, wait, what? happen? Okay, sure. But overall, I thought it was a very cleverly done movie. Really cool visual effects. Really fun. It's like a very serious Groundhog's Day.
Yeah, and I also enjoyed that Tom Cruise kind of played a little bit different character for the first half of the movie because he's this little cowardly PR guy, and it's actually pretty funny in that part. It's like, wow, this is something different for him. And only later on in the movie does become the hardened, typical Tom Cruise character we see. But I really liked that he showed some range in that. It was kind of fun.
I liked that Emily Blunt was hot. I like that.
Yep, I like the repeated push-up. That was wonderful.
Yeah. Oh, that repeated yoga push-up thing. Oh, man.
I think that's in my dreams now.
5 stars.
But I recommend that movie, guys. It was really fun. Great
Check
effects.
it out.
Yeah, it was a good mind job.
Yeah, they did a good job.
All right, so for me, I wanted to talk a little bit about dark matter. And it's something I've always heard things about, never quite understood it. So I did some research, and as best as I could, with my limited amount of knowledge. But it's fascinating. And I had no idea this was such a mystery amongst astrophysicists and theoretical physicists. But basically the gist of what I'm understanding is that back in the 1930s, when they were first starting to get better telescopes and the kind of better understanding of our solar system and our galaxy, they looked out and they saw that they basically measured all of the visible objects in our current galaxy using equations estimating about how much physical objects there were. And then they kind of measured the spin and gravitational pull on these objects, and they didn't match up. And basically it was saying that there's so much gravity pulling on these objects but there's not enough objects to be making that gravity happen. So when they've estimated that 85% of the cosmos is this invisible matter that is pulling on everything, but it's not visible and we can't measure it. Does that make any sense?
Okay, so it's pixie dust. Go on. I'm with you.
It's basically like it has to be there because this pull is happening from something. So they are trying to find ways to measure this invisible substance. And so one way they found that something is there is they use something called lensing, which is basically where they you see light traveling and you can see where it's bending over something. And so they're like, oh, light is being bent over something before it gets to us, but we can't see what it's bending over. And the only thing that happens with as well is black holes, but there can't be there's can't possibly be enough black holes to make this much gravity. So they have no idea what it is. And basically 85% of our whole universe, even going through us right now, must be this invisible matter, dark matter, but we have no idea what it is. It's fascinating.
Wow. Okay. It sounds like ghosts to me.
Ghosts. Well, it's funny you say that because...
So you're telling me right now in this room with me there is supposedly dark matter?
Yeah. What you see and can touch and feel and measure is only 15% of our universe. And they know that basically for a fact because they know that they don't know, basically. But one of the theories is that this is just one of the many theories, but that there's like parallel universes, literally not like parallel like in the sci-fi sense, but like we're actually sitting on below another universe that's parallel to ours. And the pull from these two universes is causing this gravity. And so basically that other 85% that we're missing is like the universe below us and the universe above us that actually has real matter that kind of collides with ours and pulls on it. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but basically...
I'm not real? Is that what I'm really confused.
We're only partially real. There could be there's a whole other 85% of matter that we can't see or feel or interact with, but it is there. Maybe it's like the fourth dimension or something. We don't know. So maybe that's something that whenever people think they see ghosts or weird things like that, they're actually just seeing a real scientific phenomenon of suddenly seeing this dark matter or suddenly seeing a parallel universe for a moment. And that's not out of the realm of possibility. That's like science. That could really be a thing.
I believe that more than I believe in ghosts.
Yeah, like that could be an explanation for ghostly activity or UFOs.
Isn't someone's theory that Bigfoot is an interdimensional being?
Oh, yes, exactly.
Isn't that some yak out there?
No, he's like one of the theories is that he's like
he's a legit Bigfoot researcher. Are you
One theory is that he's like, Earth is like Australia to the aliens and to interdimensional beings. They send their like convicts here, and that Bigfoot is an alien convict.
And so is Loch Ness.
Oh yeah, they're all there. They're just like creatures that didn't make it in the other dimensions. They sent them here.
And Gary Busey.
Of course.
But this new Amazon Fire TV listens to me, Gary Busey.
So I had a little sound clip here I could play for a little bit of a better explanation that I'm able to give.
Good, or I'm able to understand.
Yeah. So let's hear from the very more understandable Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's going to explain dark matter to us here.
Dark matter. I get asked what it is, and my best answer is, we haven't a clue. We don't know what it is. We look out in the universe, and 85% of all the gravity that's out there has some mysterious unknown source. We add up all the stars, the galaxies, the planets, the comets, the black holes, the dark clouds, everything out there that we can see, touch, smell, or taste. And it doesn't add up to give us the gravity that we see operating in this universe. So really, we should be calling it the dark force, because we don't know if it's made of matter. It could be a profound misnomer, sending people off in thought directions that might not really be the right path. So dark matter is just simply what we call this thing about which we know nothing, responsible for 85% of the gravity of the cosmos. We've known about dark matter since the 1930s. Back then it was called missing mass. That's what it was called. Because, there's got to be some mass. Where is it? We can't find it. It's got to be here somewhere, because we got the gravity. If you have the gravity, you got to have the mass. Mass and gravity go together. It's really dark gravity. Actually, we shouldn't call it anything. We should call it Fred. Something that has no meaning, because we don't know what it is to call it. But it is the longest standing unsolved problem in modern astrophysics.
All right, there you go. So I thought that was fascinating. That's my thing.
Thanks,
on dark
Neil.
matter. Yeah, thanks, Neil.
All right, so now to round us out, I'm going to play a game with Jarman. And of course, I try to give all my games clever names, and this one is called Gravity of the Situation.
Gravity is working against me, and gravity wants to bring me down.
So I'm going to name a planet, and you have to tell me if you would weigh more on that planet or less on that planet.
Ooh, I like it.
All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready to float away.
All right. Venus.
I'm going to say I would weigh less.
You would. You would weigh less.
And I was only saying that because I thought the swirling gases, and I thought maybe that meant I'd weigh less for some reason.
Well, no, you would weigh about 20% less.
Huh.
Yeah, exciting.
Not bad.
Jupiter.
Jupiter, I don't know why, it seems like such a fatty, so I figure I'm going to weigh more on Jupiter.
That's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Because of its mass, it has a much higher gravitational pull on objects on its surface because of how much bigger it is than any other planet in the solar system.
I like how my arbitrary reasons are matching up with scientific reasons.
That's true. That's how most of science operates.
Of course.
All right. Mars.
Mars. I think I remember hearing that it's a little bit less on Mars.
It is. In fact, it is much less on Mars.
Ooh, how much less?
You'd be about 60% lighter on Mars.
Wow. Didn't realize it was that much. Get your ass to Mars.
Give this people air.
Get your ass to Mars. Work out.
60% less. That's a lot. That means that we couldn't really live there very well, could we?
Yeah, maybe. Our bones would disintegrate and stuff, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That doesn't work at all.
All right. Neptune.
Oh, geez. For some reason, I'm thinking Neptune is really icy and dense. I'm going to say we weigh more.
We would. About 5 to 10% more.
Holy shit, I'm doing really well in this game.
You are. You've gotten everyone right.
That's awesome.
All right, time to fuck up this streak.
Okay.
All right, Saturn.
Oh, I'm picturing those rings existing because they're not being pulled into the planet, so maybe I'd weigh a little bit less on Saturn?
I'm sorry, bud. You would weigh, once again, about 5 to 10% more on Saturn.
That's pretty much the same. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, not too bad. All right. Uranus.
I'm going
I like saying that one.
with the cold thing again. I'm going to say you weigh more.
No, you would weigh less on Uranus.
Does it say why?
Nope.
Not
Just a
this
chart.
time.
About 5% less.
You weigh less in your Uranus.
All right, and I'm going to include it because the hell with everyone else. Pluto.
Pluto. I imagine just being so far out there on Pluto that you could just easily float away into the universe. So I'm going to say way less.
Way, way less.
Awesome.
Way, way less. All right, final one. Mercury. Closest to the sun.
I'm guessing close to the sun, really dense, really hot. So I'm going with your weighing more.
Less.
Really?
It is a very small planet.
Oh, okay. So I guess less pull on you, and then you're being pulled away towards the sun or something.
Yeah, so who knows how that stuff works?
We're not going to try to guess here.
Oh, well, you got 5 out of 8.
Nice.
And you got the first 4 in a row right. That's crazy.
That's a new record for me for any game.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, we need to bring back Brooklyn band name or smut search soon.
The problem is I cleaned out most of the obvious Brooklyn band names. So I have to wait for them to replenish a little bit.
Oh, just give it a couple of months. I'm sure they will.
That's true.
New crappy ones will pop up.
Yeah, I just put in a little chart. I would weigh 18 pounds on Pluto.
18 pounds. Jeez.
Yep. Versus on, let's see, Jupiter, where I would weigh 762.
I just imagining the Kool-Aid man. That's
Oh yeah, my bones melted.
My bones are pulled down to the earth. I'm dead.
I'm an amorphous blob. Oh yeah. All right, so that's been our space talk. We hope that you enjoyed it with us.
Absolutely. And please email us if anything we did wrong or said that was totally incorrect.
I'm sure we said so many things incorrectly.
If we have any space aficionados out there, please let us know how wrong we were.
Please let us know. And now we're going to move into the end of our show with trailer reviews.
Here at Play on Nerds, we have developed an interesting rating system to bring to you our ideas on the trailers we're about to review. At the low end of the scale, we have Burn It, where we think you should find every copy you can get your hands on and throw it into a barrel fire.
Kill it with fire. And our next step is Drunk Watch, which means that, yeah, I'd watch this movie. It'd be entertaining if I was under the influence of some kind of substance of some kind. But if I was sober, probably not going to check this thing out.
Nope, not going to see it. Next, we've got We'll See, which is maybe we just don't know enough about this movie to tell what the hell it's going to be.
Could be good, could be bad, not sure. And our next category would be Get the Couch Ready, which means I'm definitely going to check this movie out at home. Wouldn't necessarily pay the big bucks of seeing it in theaters, but I'm definitely going to watch it at home, so get that couch ready.
After that, we have Take a Look, where we are recommending for you, our viewers and listeners, to check out this movie and check out the trailer and tell us what you think about it. We wanted to see what you guys think.
It looks pretty good, but we're not quite sure yet.
Yeah, take a look.
Yeah.
Let us know.
And for our final and best category, we have Shut Up and Take My Money.
Shut up and take my money.
This looks so awesome, we're gonna see it.
That's where we cannot wait to give Hollywood bigwigs all of the money that we have earned at work to go see a film for $47. We're so excited, we just have to go see it. We don't have a choice.
And that is our A Play on Nerds official copyrighted trademark system for rating our movie trailers.
This week, we're covering a movie that I am very excited about. That would be The Avengers, The Age of Ultron.
Oh, yeah.
And this looks awesome. It makes the first one look like child's play, even by the trailer.
I mean, I really enjoyed the first one.
I mean, but this just looks great. And they got a great villain, James Spader. Basically doing his Robert California voice from The Office. Like, that is awesome.
I personally, I agree with that. That's a better villain because Loki is great, but I don't see him as
so spent.
But he's not evil. He's he's kind of in between. But like Ultron's just going to be an evil bastard, which is great. That's what they need.
Yes. And then, you know, I want to know why Iron Man's fighting everyone.
Well, you know what the theory on that is, right?
What?
apparently there's some comic book storyline, which with Ryan and Positively Nerdy would know more about this than we would, obviously.
He sides with the U.S. government, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like they want every mutant, not mutant because they can't call it that because of Sony properties or whatever, Fox properties, but every special or anyone with powers has to register themselves. And Tony Stark is all for it, and Captain America's like, that's not American, so they fight against each other in the comics. So that seems like what might be going on here.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be something. Only things that don't impress me about the trailer. Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch.
Yeah. Well, they didn't show much of Scarlet Witch at all, so she could still be okay.
That was their downfall. They should have shown less of Quicksilver, and they should have shown her at least one point blowing someone away. Yeah,
because she can do some cool stuff, or so I've heard.
Yeah, she has like energy powers and shit.
Yeah, kind of like the same thing Gambit has, like, like that red energy kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I think that would have been a great way to like end the trailer and grab everybody. But instead, we got to see Quicksilver have one shitty looking fast running scene, and that was it.
Yeah, they're gonna have a hard time keeping up to par with Days of Future Past Quicksilver, because that was...
Oh, they set such a high bar.
That was freaking awesome. But the rest of the movie will be great, even without Quicksilver, so it's fine.
Very true.
And people have said that the I've Got No Strings song motif thing was cheesy, but I thought it was creepy. It was legitimately creepy.
Oh, yeah, the way they played it was very, very clever, and then having the robot character, James Spader's character, finish it up was brilliant. I thought that was great. Very well done.
There are no strings on me.
So what are you going to give this one, Jarman?
Oh, well, one other thing I was going to say about it was that I'm curious to see how they're going to go forward with all this stuff, because they can't keep these actors forever. So I guess these next few movies will be help transitioning to a new set of Avengers, probably, because
that's true.
They can't keep re-signing Robert Downey Jr. So,
I think he's signed on for a 7-movie deal, and he's 5 movies in or 6 movies in.
Yeah, because he's doing Captain America 3, Civil War. He's doing that one, and this one as well. So who knows? But for me, I'm gonna see it. It's shut up, take my money. It's gonna happen.
Shut up and take my money for me too, all the way. Yeah, I'll pay extra to go see this shit in 3D.
Yeah, I would too, because it's actually worth it with these movies.
Yep. So shut up and take my money. Check it out, internet.
Absolutely. So our next movie is Chappie, which is the next Neil Blomkamp movie. He's the same guy, District 9 and Elysium.
Yep.
And it's weird. It's like I feel like all these movies almost take place in the same universe, because they're all in the same gritty, usually
kind of visual motif almost.
Yeah, gritty and dirty, and in the future with robots and stuff like that. So, I mean, it looks like a little more pleasant than his last 2 movies, I guess. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't think it's going to be more pleasant at all. I think it's going to be WALL-E, except for WALL-E is an outcast and gets beat up.
So, like, depressing WALL-E.
I think we are going to get attached to Chappie, and something awful is going to happen to him, and it's going to be like Old Yeller, and we're all going to cry. Like, I think that's going to be the real what's happening.
And humanity will learn a lesson from his death.
Yep, exactly. That will be the end.
Probably. So
there will be no cute end where he comes back. Well, Chappie will be dead.
For those of you who haven't seen the preview, the guy from Slumdog Millionaire, he stars in this, and he creates a robot with the first artificial intelligence that's like fully encompassing. So he starts developing his own personality. They teach him how to speak and stuff, and he's learning how to deal with humanity. And of course, Sholto Copley, the guy who's in Elysium and in District 9, he plays the voice of Chappie. He's in every one of Neil Blomkamp's movies, apparently. And the creepy blonde chick. Did you see her in the preview?
No. Who?
The little young blonde girl in the preview.
No one I recognized, I guess. Let me look it up.
She's not recognizable, but her name is Yolandi Visser, and she's a South African rave rap star. She's very weird. I've seen a couple of her videos in the past. It looks like a little girl, but she has very overly sexualized videos. She's about 30 years old, but she looks really like she's a little girl. So
Yolandi Visser?
Yeah. She's really creepy, but she's in the movie because he likes hiring South African stars. That's where he's from, so he likes doing that. So, like Charlton Copley and this chick. So that's an interesting choice.
Oh, she does look weird.
Yeah.
And not like, she's kind of punky and hot. Like, she might bite me.
Yeah, she's like a vampire or something. But Hugh Jackman's in there, too. Who's in the few parts of the preview. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate this movie is coming out so close to another one we reviewed, Automata.
Yes, that's true.
And maybe later on, after they're both released, we can do a copycat cinema on them.
That would be cool. Well, I'd like that.
Yep. Bam. Promise for episode 73 or something.
Exactly.
That just happened.
So what do you give this one, Steve?
I'm going to go ahead and get the couch ready, because I will probably rent it from Redbox, but I'm probably not going to rush out to the theater to see a sad Wally.
Parts of Wally were sad too. But yeah, I'm going to just take a look, actually. I might see it in theaters. If I see more about it, see if it's decent. I can't really tell yet. So take a look.
Okay. And the last movie we are going to review is The Imitation Game. And it stars, I don't remember his first name, Cumberbatch.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Benedict. He's got two goofy names. How am I supposed to remember?
Benabun Cumberbatch.
Yes. And he plays a code breaker.
Yes, Alan Turing.
For a secret government body.
Alan Turing, yeah. I know he's a real guy, and he really was a code breaker, and it's like a true story, but...
and it seems to be surrounding the espionage and pressure that was on him and his team at that time.
Yeah, and apparently Alan Turing was also gay, or rumored to be gay, so that shows like some of the implications back then when he's dealing with that, because it's illegal where he was, basically. So, but looks an interesting story. I love Benedict Cumberbatch. I think he could do no wrong. Or Benderstun Cumberfart.
I mean, it looks like A Beautiful Mind, except I want to see it.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't want to see A Beautiful Mind?
It just looked like it was going to be long. And it was. I wasn't wrong.
This one's probably going to be long, too. Let's be honest. Every period
but this
piece
one
drama.
Seems like it's going to at least move story-wise. There were whole, 15-minute sections of A Beautiful Mind where you weren't sure if you were inside his head or what was actually happening.
True. But I think it's a great part for Benedict Cumberbatch. But he can't have a bad part because he's great.
Yeah, true.
I really hope he does end up being Doctor Strange, because that would be freaking awesome.
That would be. I'd go see that.
Yeah. So what would you give this one?
I'm going to go ahead and do another Get the Couch Ready, because I try to watch a lot of Oscar-nominated films once they come out, and this one will certainly be nominated for some Oscars. I can guarantee you. For sure. And I put Get the Couch Ready as well. Yep. It looks like a very pretty, well-made drama. Go for it. If you're in the mood for it. But I'm not 42, so I'm not going to go see it in theaters. Exactly. We're not 42 yet. That's the age, for some reason, I settled on. I'm not sure why. Makes sense, somehow. Sure. So before we go this week, wanted to put a shout out for the Rusted Robot podcast. Steve and I recorded a little segment for their 50th show, which they're ahead of us. They're on their 50th show there. Yep. And they asked us to be a part, and we were happy to oblige. So check it out on this week's episode, which we think is releasing a day before us or a day after us. Probably day before us, so they'll be out on Sunday, and we'll be on Monday. So by the time you listen to this, you can download that podcast next to hear more of us. Yeah, hear more of us and them. There you go. And I think you'll find them at the rustedrobotpodcast.podbean.com, or just look them up on iTunes, and you can find them there. But thanks to Rusted Robot for including us. We feel special. Absolutely. And a few Twitter shout-outs real quick. People who either mentioned us or for the twits, retweeted us or said something. We have Ryan at Positively Nerdy. We have at OGYPPSYS. I'm not going to try to pronounce that. Ogapipsies. Exactly. I'll just pronounce them after hearing them. Let's try. Mike, or at Jarek, as usual. He's fantastic. Okay. Thanks, Jarek. Josh Shadowins, or at Josh Shadow. Okay. And then Murica, or... Oh, Murica is best, or at Murica's best at Death Pew Pew Pew, which is actually the guy we mentioned earlier on Twitch. He also followed us on Twitter. So thanks, man. Appreciate thanks for joining the show. If you want to hear us talk about something, let us know. You can always message us on Facebook, find us on the Twitters, the Google Pluses. You can email us anything at aplayonnerds.com. We'll get it. We'll read it. And we'll try to get back to you on the show. Absolutely. And pay attention to our website soon. So we could be having a few articles posted up soon. We're going to have some bloggers and people joining our website to post regularly about nerdy topics. So that'll be fun. Guest writers. That's right. Exciting. Keep an eye out for that. So join us again next week for episode 30. And until then, thanks again, Internet. Stay nerdy, my friends. Cutting the shit up. I'm recording. God damn it. This is going to be a good one. We're both in a jolly mood. Yeah. And that's trailer reviews, folks. All right. You ready? Whew. All right. Whoo. Hold on. Gotta center up. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Don't die, Jarman. I need you to co-host. All right. This is it. We're going to do it this time.